Hello everybody, it's Josie here. So I am doing my TBR for the month of February and it's kind of a combo TBR, so it's my personal TBR, but then also I'm taking part in a readathon and it's going to be the next round of Contemporaryathon. So I have decided to wear green and sort of almost kind of do my spring hippie vibes because I think looking at the weather, we might be slowly creeping towards some warmer springy days. Fingers crossed. Also, the colour challenge. So Contemporaryathon always has a colour challenge for their books, and this month it is green, or this round it is green. And then the first book in my own personal TBR was also green, hence the green theme. My personal TBR, what I normally do is I kind of theme my TBRs for the month depending on what I'm into, what I'm interested in, what I've got lying around, what I want to read. So this month for my own personal TBR, it's always queer, but I'm getting back into kind of lesfic and also kind of queer protagonist mystery thriller type scenarios. I'm really into kind of kick-ass women at the moment. So that's something that I've discovered, I think, a new kind of lesbian protagonist thriller detective series. And it's actually not in this pile because I'm sort of putting out the feelers at the moment and trying to figure out if I want to read it. I think I do. It reminds me a little bit of the Nicola Griffith series that I read last year that I really loved, but I'll do a video on those if and when I read them. But I do have some here. The other thing that I'm kind of really into at the moment is sort of 1920s. I listened to a really good podcast on Anita Berber, who was this cabaret star in Berlin in the 1920s. And so the 1920s Paris, 1920s Berlin, the whole artist scene, that kind of thing. I'm really into that at the moment. So they're in my personal TBR for the month. So without further waffling, let me get to it. So the first two books, I got these in a secondhand shop, in a charity shop here, and I was so excited. They are these, and the first one is called Odd Girl Out, and the second one is called I Am Woman by Anne Bannon. And if you're a kind of a lesfic aficionado, you will know that Anne Bannon wrote pulp fiction in the 1950s, lesbian pulp fiction. This is kind of what I would term historical classic contemporary. And I was so excited to find these secondhand. They cost a fortune when you try and buy them new. You can't even get a lot of them. And seeing them in the charity shop was just, I loved it. So this one is set at university, kind of in a sorority. And this one, where is this one even set? I don't even know. Fledgling dykes flock to the village. I'm guessing it's New York, in the East Village in New York. But yeah, this is such a kind of a classic lesbic 1950s. If you've read the book Pulp by Robin Talley, the protagonist in that book is kind of a contemporary protagonist, but she talks about, she's doing a paper on a 1950s lesbian pulp fiction author, and this is kind of the reference material for it. So I'm really excited to read that. I cannot wait to share my thoughts and kind of compare it against what we have nowadays in the contemporary vein. So really excited about those. Then, so the books I was talking about in terms of kind of female thrillery type of books. So the first one is this one here. It's called Just a Little Lie by Kate Allen. Kate Allen? Yeah, by Kate Allen. So this is the author I was referencing when I was saying it reminds me a little bit of the Nicola Griffith series. Now this book I think is like the fourth book in the series, and it's the second hand, so I need to kind of work my way back to the first one. But I did have a little, so I was like, well, do I really want to read the whole series? And I kind of had a little bit of a sneaky read, and it sounds really good. So the main protagonist is a lesbian detective, I believe, and her girlfriend. And it sounds very, it sounds like it has a lot of kind of, you've got that thriller element, that detective element, you've got the relationship element between the two of them, but there's also quite a lot of sex. And I think it's quite steamy in places. Like this one has to do with bondage and a bondage club, and I think that's kind of what her girlfriend was into. So they sound really good. They sound like really the kind of thing I'm in the mood for. I'm in the mood for, like I said, tough girls. What I loved about the Nicola Griffith series is the fact that the protagonist was very tough. She did like martial arts, and I'm doing kickboxing and boxing training at the moment and weight training, and I'm really kind of into that idea of being a strong female, and that's what I like about these books. They tend to have really strong, both physically and emotionally, female protagonists. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the series. Like I said, I did have a little read. I think I might do all of them, so I need to get the others as well, so I can kind of read up to this one, because it is the fourth book, or third or the fourth book or something in the series. So that's that. And then the next one I'm really looking forward to. This has been sitting in my Amazon basket for ages, and I kept dithering, and eventually I was like, I'm going to read this. This is Stilettos and Steel, but Stilettos and Steel by Jerry Estes. And I believe this is kind of the only novel that Jerry Estes has written, because I can't really find any others. But this is set in San Francisco in 1969, which again, sort of the late 60s, early 70s, kind of that whole hippie era. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Also, themed for it. And this is again around a detective, and she's female, lesbian cop, and then she gets involved. There's a murder, and there's this whole scene that sounds really fascinating. So the kind of the 70s dyke scene in San Francisco, and like I think there's bikers going on here and gangs, and like it's supposed to be quite gritty and quite hard to read in places as well, but apparently it's really, really good. I've read a lot of reviews that have said it's, if you can handle kind of the grit of it, and if you like that, which I do, it's a really good kind of thriller detective novel, but also sets that scene, and that really puts you back into that era. And that's kind of what I'm into at the moment. That's what I want to be. I want to be in those eras and in those kind of areas, and I want to really feel it. So I think this is, and it's based on a true story as well, so I think this is going to be a good one, and I'm looking forward to doing kind of a review on this. Fingers crossed it's like a 5-star prediction, we hope. Then talking about being immersed in an era, the books that I was talking about before, the first one is this one here, and this is Goodbye to Berlin by Christopher Isherwood. And this, first of all, can we appreciate, I love that cover. So I've seen other ones that have like an illustrated cover, which is all right, but this cover I love. I wasn't expecting this cover. I've only ever seen the illustrated cover, and I really like that. Is it just me? So Christopher is very famous for writing queer fiction. No different here. This is a queer fiction, but what it is it's set in the 1920s in that Berlin cabaret scene, and in that whole scene. And it's really funny to think that in the 1920s, people were very openly queer, very openly gay. That whole scene was very open, very sexually free, and it's really interesting to see how we've almost regressed in some places. But this is going to be really good. I really, again, want to be immersed in this. Reading about Anita Berber, who was a very famous cabaret star back then. She was very debauched, very naughty girl, but lots of fun. Not reading about it, listening about her. There's a great podcast. Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt myself. Deviant Women. If you've not listened to Deviant Women podcast, so good. Anyway, the Anita Berber episode kind of references 1920s Berlin, and I saw this and I had to read it. I had to get it. It had to be done. Then, on that same vein, we've got Nightwood by Jana Barnes. This is again the 20s, but this is it documents Europe, and it focuses more on Paris, and it's kind of that roaring 20s scene, again that queer scene, that cabaret scene, that kind of liberated scene of the 1920s. This again is like a classic, like a queer classic. It's supposed to be really, really good. High hopes for this book as well. Again, I'm getting into a lot of European literature. There's some French authors. I'm going to do like a whole video series that I'm interested in reading, that I have read, and I'll do bits and pieces of that, and I can get up my Breton top and be French. But this is one of those books that has been on my list for ages. Very much a must read, and I'm really in the mood for reading it right now. And then the last one is this one over here. I found this one at a charity shop, which I was really excited about. This is Real People by Alison Lurie. And I think, yeah, this author is Pulitzer Prize winning, but what made me really stop and look at this book and go, I want to read it, is that an artist colony in a false paradise for a frustrated writer. It sounds amazing. So again, I believe it's like the 50s or early 60s. And there is this kind of house, which I love, this sort of estate where they all go and meet, and there's all these artists and writers, and kind of really an artistic colony, an artistic community, and they all get together. And then I'm sure something ensues while they're there, but it sounds really good. Again, it fits in with sort of the mood I'm in at the moment. Right, so that is what's currently on my personal TBR. I am also, side note, currently audiobook listening to all of the Harry Potter books, because I've never read Harry Potter. I know, 100 people just died back there. But I've watched the films, I've never read it. And I'm loving it. So I will do a whole separate video on that, but I've just finished book 2. They're in my library, so I'm just waiting for them to come in because they're quite popular. And I do like them, and I probably will buy the books and reread them. Anyway, that's just a little side note. So that's my fun escapism when I go to the gym. So on to Contemporaryathon. So this is the other thing I'm doing this month. So Contemporaryathon runs from February the 10th to the 16th. And I've only picked 3 books because I feel like that's all I can muster at the moment. I do so many things after work, during work. I'm busy. And I love reading, but I need to schedule time in for it. So I think I can only just about muster 3 books. Maybe I'll only do 2 of them. I know. So these are the 3 books I'm going to talk about. So I've got the challenges here. And actually these, between them, I think between them actually 2 of the books meet all the challenges, but I'm going to throw in a 3rd one because I really want to read it. So the first book I'm going to talk about is this book over here. It's Juliet Takes a Breath by Gabby Rivera. Now, I've been, again, dying to read this book. It has been on my sort of list of books that I must read for ages. This book is queer. Its protagonist is a person of color. It is supposed to be fabulously feminist, again, which is so what I'm in the mood for, strong women. And, oh God, look at the back. This cover is so cute, isn't it? Look at that, look at that. And I love this cover, by the way. And it's just wonderful and it's beautiful. And this is another one of my 5-star predictions. I cannot wait to read it. So this lovely book over here. Now, initially I thought maybe for green, but it's more yellow. So we'll not say this is green. But Juliet Takes a Breath covers the challenges. Read a contemporary from a new to you author. I've never read Gabby Rivera. It also covers read a diverse contemporary, keeping in mind that it's Black History Month. It also covers read a backlist contemporary, something that's been on your TBR for over a year. That one, and it also covers read a contemporary that is beloved by a member of the book community and shout out the creator. So I remember Cece from Problems of a Book Nerd talking about this. I'm pretty sure Chelsea talked about this. I have, Andrea, was it? No, is it? I think so. A lot of people have talked about this book. That's what I'm going to say. Everybody loves this book. No, it was Adriana from Perpetual Pages that talked about this book. And I just, I cannot wait to read it. So I'm really excited. Then the next one, let's check this way. The next one is this book over here. It is I had to de-dust, it's been on my shelves for a while, is The Serpent King by Jeff Setner. I read this book early last year, I think, and I adored it. It was 5 stars, made me cry, loved it. Really hard-hitting contemporary, beautiful friendship about these kind of misfits that form this friendship and a love for each other, and their terrible family issues that some of them have, and personal issues and queerness and dealing with yourself and coming of age. And I absolutely loved it, and I really want to reread it. So this is the green cover. It is also read a dark and hard-hitting contemporary, because this definitely is. And I definitely, this is due a reread. So these are the 2 that I want to read. Actually, the very last challenge that I haven't covered yet is read a contemporary with an illustrated cover. Now, Juliet Takes a Breath could cover that as well. So I can cover all of the challenges with these 2 books. However, another book that I really want to reread is this one over here, Perks of Being a Wallflower. And this is an illustrated cover. So this could work for that challenge. I suppose it's also hard-hitting in a way, and it's diverse. These are all diverse. But yeah, I kind of want to reread this as well, so it's not too long. If I get a chance, I will reread it, but these 2 are my priority for Contemporaryathon. And that is it. Let me know if you've read any of these books, any recommendations, and I will speak to you all again very soon, and happy reading for February. Bye.